Pittsburgh police say a man is in the hospital with a gunshot wound in his leg. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Elise Snowy. Authorities say the shooting happened around 1:30 this morning in an apartment at the Sycamore Village Residencies at 2601 North Joplin. The victim is a 28-year-old man. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police have not mentioned any suspects in this case. With the new year approaching, local gyms are about to see a boost in memberships. Officials at 24 Elite Gym in Joplin hire interns to work from January to May to accommodate the extra clients. They also say cleaning efforts take a step up during that time to make sure every gym goer stays healthy.
It's definitely a preparation every year that we do get really excited for. It takes a lot of staff. Cleaning is always a big importance, especially after COVID, so it is something that we're really on top of, just trying to keep the place clean all the time and make our customers happy.
Some gyms have implemented policies preventing new clients at the beginning of the year to prevent people from signing up and not following through. On the first day of the new year, Joplin will host the Chili 5K. The point-to-point course starts at the Cornell Art Complex and goes to the Joplin Family Y. The Joplin Road Runners, a group of runners, is warming up for the big race.
We've been running together, putting on races together, encouraging people to come out either in the cold or the warmth or in between seasons, and just have some fun together.
It gives me that extra accountability to get out there and run even when I don't want to because it's cold. And then when I'm done, I feel so much better. Like any stress that I carried into it, it just kind of gets left out there on the pavement.
The Chili 5K starts at 10:15 a.m. on Monday. The Joplin Road Runners encourage runners to join their group, especially those who are running for New Year's resolution. Chloe Arroyo joins us for a first look at weather.
Thanks, Elise. This morning, you may have seen a couple of snowflakes here and there, but we've since cleared up quite a bit and warmed up surprisingly nicely in the upper 40s and even lower 50s as you push a little further west. Sedan sitting at 50 degrees right now. Take a look at 7th and Rangeline, a beautiful sunset. We're at 43 degrees. Have a couple of winds popping up here and there, so make sure you're staying aware of that. Feels like 38 degrees out there because of those winds and our dew points pretty low at 29 degrees, and when you have a really low dew point, those drier conditions are going to continue to persist. Now coming up in a bit, it's the end of December. It's so cold, and we're going to continue to see those temperatures. We'll also have your New Year's Eve forecast. Maybe the new year will bring in some new warmer temperatures. I'll have the full details coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, former President Donald Trump faces another legal challenge to his candidacy with just a few weeks to go before the first votes are cast in the 2024 presidential primary contest. Nicole Skanga has more details from Washington.
Campaigning in New Hampshire about 3 weeks before that state's primary, presidential hopeful Nikki Haley told voters it's time for change.
Republicans have lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president. That is nothing to be proud of.
Polls show Haley running second behind former President Donald Trump in the Granite State.
We need to hear the truth about Donald Trump.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who's focused his presidential hopes on the state, slammed Haley for saying if elected that she would pardon Trump before any trials for the crimes he's accused of.
She believes in 2 systems of justice. One for all of us, and one for the most powerful.
In nearby Maine, voters may not have the choice of picking Trump after the Secretary of State took his name off the ballot, ruling he had violated the Constitution's 14th Amendment against insurrection.
Mr. Trump was aware of the tinder that was laid in a multi-month effort to delegitimize the 2020 election, and then chose to light a match.
Trump's campaign issued a response promising an appeal and calling the secretary a virulent leftist and hyper-partisan Biden-supporting Democrat. Colorado's Supreme Court issued a similar ruling last week.
We need from the U.S. Supreme Court guidance about what the federal Constitution says.
Maine and Colorado hold primaries on Super Tuesday, March 5th. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Washington.
Yesterday, California joined Michigan and Minnesota in declining to remove Trump's name from the ballot. More challenges have been filed in about a dozen other states. Law enforcement officials are ramping up security for New Year's Eve festivities in Times Square, including a massive police presence. About 1 million revelers are set to pack the iconic location on Sunday to see the ball drop at the stroke of midnight. With concerns heightened amid ongoing protests against the Israel-Hamas war, officials are warning everyone to be on high alert. And it's not just Times Square security that's getting prepared for the change of the calendar. Organizers today practiced their confetti tossing. Officials have 3,000 pounds of confetti ready to go. Mixed in are tens of thousands of wishes written by individuals that contain resolutions and dreams for the future.
Even my own wish, which is to spend more time with my family in 2024, and of course, just peace on earth. I think more than ever, we just want everyone to get along.
Shortly after the celebration ends, hundreds of city sanitation workers descend on the area to sweep up the colorful aftermath. More than 1 million people are expected to crowd into Times Square on Sunday night. Still ahead, a new look for your groceries.
A push to put info about what's in your food on the front of the package. I'm Natalie Brand with what the FDA is researching and why.
And next in Health Watch, we'll have some tips to make sure you hit those New Year's resolutions in 2024. Topping today's Health Watch, doctors are warning asthma patients about a big change coming to inhalers. Starting January 1st, the asthma inhaler Flovent made by GSK will disappear from pharmacy shelves. Physicians say an authorized generic version to take its place will work just as well. However, it doesn't appear to be covered as widely by insurers. Iovance Biotherapeutics is continuing to monitor a non-small cell lung cancer patients treated in a clinical trial now paused by the FDA. The experimental cell therapy was put on hold after a patient death, and the company says it will work with the FDA to safely resume the trial. Non-small cell lung cancer is the most common type of lung cancer in the U.S. The countdown is on to the new year, and for many, it's a time to make goals for 2024. According to one survey, more than a third of Americans will make New Year's resolutions. Bradley Blackburn has more with how experts say you can keep them.
Right below where the ball will drop in the home of New Year's Eve, plenty are already planning for what happens January 1st.
I just want to focus on myself and work out more.
I hope to get back to lose a little weight, as always.
A new survey from Forbes Health finds, no surprise, the top resolution for 2024 is improving physical fitness. Number 2, improving finances. And number 3 is improving mental health. But psychologist Dr. Sabrina Romanoff says the way you phrase those goals can set you up for success.
That's one of the reasons why resolutions fail. They're too idealistic and they're not so specific.
So it has to be very specific.
Specific and measurable so you can see your progress over time.
For example, if your aim is to lose weight, break it down. Set a goal of 1 pound per week, or find a different metric.
That could mean eating vegetables 4 times a week. Let's say you want to do that for 4 weeks in a row, and then in 1 month you might say I'm going to reevaluate and increase the challenge.
The average length of time a resolution lasts is 3 months. Just 1% made it a full year. But the act of setting goals is a good one.
Even if it's for a couple weeks, you tried your best.
Dr. Romanoff agrees success isn't black or white.
You can almost imagine them as like a compass, and you're coming back to your compass. What's really important to you.
An old routine to start the new year.
Always worth trying.
Because a promise to yourself can have power. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Experts say rewards can also help us follow through on resolutions. So when you set a goal, decide exactly what you'll do to celebrate. It can be an effective source of motivation. Well, it's common for people to search the internet to get answers to health issues. If you're curious about what people searched for the most, Google has just released the top trending health-related questions searched for in the U.S. from 2023. Turns out it's strep throat. The top search, how long is strep contagious? That was followed by how contagious is strep throat. Other top searches include how to lower cholesterol and what helps bloating. And that's a look at today's health news. A little later, why a BlendJet is recalling millions of its portable blender products.
Plus, we're done with winter weather, but are we done with winter temperatures? I'll have all the details and more coming up next. Well, we really switched gears today. This morning we woke up to snow for some of the folks in this 4 states, and then we switched to clearer skies. This is a perfect picture of that. Here's a look at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just west of Seneca, Missouri. Not a cloud in the sky from this picture. And honestly, from our western counties specifically, they've warmed up quite a bit because of that sunshine. Sedan at 50, Independence 49, Neodesha 48, Chanute you're at 46, as well as Yates Center. So you guys have warmed up pretty nicely compared to what we have seen. This isn't what it actually feels like outside because of those winds, but that's something to keep in mind. Here's a look at 7th and Rangeline, 43 degrees in Joplin right now. We've got that westerly wind, so that's keeping us feeling a little cooler in the 30s. That's going to continue to trend for the majority of the region. Our dew point at 29 degrees, which is really dry. So here's a look at our drought tracker. It's gotten a lot better than it has in the past couple of months. But it's something to keep in mind. Nevada, Chanute, over by the Independence area as well. You guys are in that moderate to even severe range for our folks out west. So keep that in mind with these drier conditions. Heading into tonight, we'll be in the upper 20s. Your low, 29 for Joplin, and we'll warm up into the upper 30s, 37 by 10 a.m. So we're not warming up by very much. Heading into this weekend, our high only 48 for Saturday afternoon. It's a little more mild than on Sunday. We'll be even more chilly at 42 degrees for our high, and will be even cooler, pretty frigid for your New Year's Eve plans. Now, your future feel like temperatures. Earlier, as I said, those temperatures in the 40s. It's not going to feel like that. Look at our temperatures and what they feel like in the 20s. Monday morning, you'll wake up to it feeling like lower 20s early Monday morning, but in the afternoon, not feeling much warmer from that. We're still feeling like mid to lower 20s Monday afternoon. This is 5 p.m. So keep that in mind as you're going out and about on New Year's Day on your day off. Now, this is going to continue to trend throughout the rest of the week up until Thursday morning. We even see those temperatures feeling like they're in the 20s. Ringing in the new year, here's what your forecast is going to look like. We'll be a little bit on the cloudier side, but it's still going to be really cold. So keep that in mind. If you have those outdoor plans with the fireworks, the whole 9 yards, layer, layer, layer. I can't stress that enough. Make sure you've got your coat, you've got your gloves, you have double socks if possible, and your scarf and your hat, the whole 9 yards. But have a good time bringing in the new year. Cold temperatures, but that's not going to last long. Here's a look at this 7-day. We have temperatures in the 40s for the most part until we get to the end of next week. Look at that, in the 50s, lower 50s. 51 by Saturday. We'll see some slight chance for precipitation, but really nothing significant at this point. Sunny on Sunday at 54 degrees. So a nice change compared to what we're seeing right now.
We definitely got a couple of chilly days ahead of us. Definitely going to be needing to bundle up for Sunday for sure.
Very much so, yes.
All right, thanks, Chloe. Of course. Well, high tides and large swells rushed into coastal areas of Ventura, California, swamping people enjoying their day at the beach. At least 8 people were taken to the hospital with injuries. 15-foot waves slammed retaining walls and flooded a seaside hotel. People living in the area say seeing such high waves is a first for them.
The water will go up a little bit on the roads, but I've never seen it break over the wall, and I've never seen wood in the streets like this, so not as much force. This is the first time I've ever seen it happen.
Up and down the coast, crews with heavy equipment are trying to build berms on beaches. Some camping along California's central coast were trapped in their RVs during high tide. And despite being warned to stay out of the water, so far more than a dozen people have been rescued. Coming up, why the FDA is looking into changes to the labels you find on food. Topping today's Consumer Watch. On some food labels, you can find nutritional info on the front of the packaging. Now health advocates want it on all products, and the FDA is researching what those labels should look like. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Shoppers searching for detailed nutritional information currently have to look at the back of a package, but some health advocates want a more upfront approach.
The more accessible the information, the more likely the consumer is to make the healthier choice.
Dr. Peter Lurie is with the Center for Science in the Public Interest, which is pushing the FDA to consider labels like these mock-ups, alerting consumers to the amount of saturated fat, salt, and sugar on the front. Countries in Europe and South America already have this type of packaging, including these Oreos sold in Chile.
This is something that has been used in other countries, been shown to be effective. It's time for the United States to play catch-up.
But manufacturers say many products already have facts up front that give shoppers more info.
We feel pretty good about what we've done as an industry.
David Shavern, president of the Consumer Brands Association, says companies aren't opposed to future changes. They just want the FDA to consider more options.
What's your biggest concern?
It seems to be oddly constrained to some degree. Again, they're not looking at, for example, calorie disclosures, which we have asked them to include. They're not looking at disclosures around positive nutrients, which I think are important to consumers as well.
Shopper Carolyn Moss says the labels under consideration would probably lead her to healthier choices.
I think them putting that right on the front of the package would prevent me from buying a lot of things that I typically would buy. So kind of ignorance is bliss.
Nat Baldino isn't sold on the idea.
I don't think it'll make much of a difference.
The FDA is still researching the labels. Health groups who support the change hope for a decision next year. Natalie Brent, CBS News, Washington.
BlendJet is recalling nearly 5 million of its BlendJet 2 portable blenders due to fire and laceration hazards. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says the blenders can overheat or catch fire and the blender blades can break off. The company says it has received more than 300 reports of the blades breaking off while in use. It has also received 17 reports of overheating or fires that have resulted in property damage claims. The portable blenders were sold at Costco, Walmart, and Target from 2020 through November of this year. Walmart is recalling approximately 4,200 toy kits with metal balls over concerns that they could cause lethal injuries to small children. The Relax 5mm science kit with magnetic balls were sold exclusively on Walmart.com through Joybuy until April of this year. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission warned earlier this month that these magnets are small enough that they could fit down a child's throat. They are also magnetically stronger than permitted. Boeing is urging airlines to inspect all 737 MAX airplanes for possible loose or missing parts. The Federal Aviation Administration said inspections involve looking for a possible loose bolt in the rudder control system. The FAA says the move stems from incidents on 2 separate aircrafts, one involving a missing nut, the other a loose nut. The inspection takes about 2 hours, according to the FAA. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, Steve Hartman goes on the road for an update on a story showing love really is for the birds. Then on KOAM News at 6, we'll have more on how a running group is preparing for Joplin's Chili 5K. Plus, Ottawa County, Oklahoma says it's looking for volunteers to help with the 2024 election cycle. And Neosho squares off against Benton in the final day of Neosho Holiday Classic. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. A zoo in the UK is celebrating its newest member, a rare dancing lemur baby. For about 3 months, the baby will ride on its mother's back until it's ready to explore the world on its own. At that point, experts say they will be able to determine the sex of the baby. Dancing lemurs are critically endangered and face a high risk of extinction in the world, mostly due to deforestation in Madagascar. In just the last 30 years, their population has dropped by 80%. How cute is he?
Cute.
I know, he's so
I want one
cute.
now.
I know, me too.
That is so sweet. Aw. Well, here's a little recap of the weather. We don't have much in terms of winter weather, but we're still going to stay on the chilly side, so winter temperatures indeed. until we get to the end of next week. 50 degrees, 51, and then 54 next Sunday. We'll continue to see a little bit of a warming trend after that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. We just got to power through this week and into the new year and get some warmer temperatures for sure.
We'll get there.
All right. Yes. Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Thanks for making us part of your nights.